And it looks like we made it. It's Friday, December the 9th, 2022. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and hopefully you had a pretty darn good week. It's been rainy all week here in Little Rock. We have a reprieve from today, and then Saturday, more rain because I guess. But hopefully you had a pretty good week weather-wise. We have a lot of people who's dealing with a lot of issues, severe weather. So hopefully you're doing well and having power. Talk about that as well. We want to go ahead and get into the news today. What we provide for you here, if you're new here, are 8 news stories that you plus Twitter bots deemed to be topical news stories over the past 30 hours. We give you a quick rundown of those stories, and you can use those for your daily fodder for coffee chat or bus chat or water cooler chat if those things still exist where you are. And to make this thing go a little bit smoother, we give you less of the background on us until later on, but you can go ahead and skip ahead and do that and find it out about us at the website thisisaconversationproject.com, where there I will in pixels beg you for subscriptions and money and things like that there. So go ahead and do it that way. I'll do the actual begging with words towards the end of the show. So the news comes first, and then we do the salesy stuff that end. Let's get into the news stories right now. The one story that is the biggest story, the one story that matters, although some big things happened, and we'll just kind of get into that in a moment. Brittney Griner, Russia frees U.S. basketball star and swap with arms dealer Bout. That is Victor Bout. Victor Bout, the merchant of death, has been traded for one-for-one trade for Brittney Griner. Now, most of the commentators, and they have a right to say this is a horrible trade. But let's remember, months ago, the U.S. traded for one prisoner with one prisoner, while Brittney Griner and the other another person in Russian custody is being held right now. After that, Russia traded one person for Brittney Griner and not 2 people going forward. As it stands, Russia is but what's in the way of fair trades, if you will, of making things happen. And the Biden administration said it was a moral obligation to get an American home. And it was pretty obvious only one American was coming home, even though the one Russian was a pretty bad dude. What's going to happen to the family of Paul Whelan? Well, they are giving much praise to the Biden administration for getting this done, and giving much prayer to the fact that they hope to have their family member home soon. We will see what happens. We are dealing with the Russians, and we're dealing with how they work things. And of course, they're fighting a war that they don't need to be fighting right now. So we shall see how this plays out. The most important thing is Brittney Griner is home. You may not believe that one American basketball player is worth one arms dealer, but let's say one life was worth bringing back, and using her as a pawn because she's not worth an arms dealer isn't right either. Let's move on to the next story for the morning. Dion diagnosed with incurable stiff person syndrome, cancels tour. So as I was checking some news stories, sitting in the drop-off line yesterday morning, this one popped up as breaking news, something that was just being processed for the morning. And it seemed like it was an onion-like story. So I actually looked and searched a bunch of places to see what was going on. First, that stiff person syndrome exists, and that, yes, Celine Dion had it. What is stiff person syndrome? Well, I want you to go click the link and go deeper into the story, deeper into what's going on. But it's literally your joints get stiff. You can't move your arms. You can't turn your torso. You just go mummy-like. And it's painful, and it's debilitating, and it's very, very, very rare, as Celine Dion is. So if someone's going to get it, someone as rare as her would get that. Because of that, she's canceling her tour immediately, and she will see what happens going in the future. But this is something she was recently diagnosed with, and it's really taking a toll on her right now. Prayers, love, hope, thoughts, all going out to Celine Dion and the fans, so that we can, get more of the warbling songbird doing those long pause type songs that we all complain about, yet we know we actually love in reality. Let's move on to the next story. JSU, Jackson State University, misused football funds, stole money from Deion Sanders. This is something that's more along the lines of rumor and innuendo, but part of the back and forth of Jackson State University losing Coach Prime to Oregon for a lot of reasons include things that went behind the scenes that Deion put up with at Jackson that he probably should not had to put up, including the bad water in the city, things like that. People not really being big on supporting the team, the whole "you not swag" thing, and apparently someone may have. All we have is allegedly rumors of someone basically pulling funds from the football funds and putting them into the general student funds. Not so much stealing them, but stealing them from the football team and from Deion Sanders. This is something that probably be buried on the rug. Other stories that are more important and more interesting. Brittney Griner, to say a few, and the teaser for today is a pretty interesting story. But this is something that, as people go deeper into Coach Prime at Oregon, how his antics will manage up there, that may come back to light and going on why he actually left in the first place. And we'll see. Oh, I said Oregon. I'm sorry, Colorado, not Oregon. He's not going to Oregon, folks. He's going to Colorado. Sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. It's been a long week, rainy week. Rain gets on the brain. Gen Z rep Maxwell Frost got denied an apartment over bad credit. Maxwell Frost is lauded as the youngest member of Congress this year, the first member of the Gen Z generation. He went to D.C., tried to get an apartment, and they told him his credit was bad. He literally was able to run for Congress and win a seat in the Congress, but he can't get an apartment in D.C. because he ain't got good credit. This is a story that goes deeper into a whole lot of things. Not even the "Don't you know who I am" thing, which obviously they had no idea who he was and particularly couldn't care because it's Washington, D.C. But there's some specific issues that are prevailing throughout the generations. Not having enough established credit is one for Gen Z, and some other things that barriers keeping them from taking over. As a member of Gen X, my indifference says, good for you. You should have had your parents should have worked on your credit cards. You should have had some cash in back. I can't do much about that. In fact, I'm so old today. I walked across campus at work the other day, saw some of the basketball players walking around with blankets and said, "Why doesn't that baby have a coat?" Because I'm that old now. Gen X is not like that. Gen Z, work on your credit. Get a chime card. Do whatever you do. Do those things, fixing your credit. But this is, on all seriousness, issue. It's probably going to be bigger than you think as Gen Zs become more prominent in the workforce. Not just taking the low-level jobs, but taking actual jobs and actual responsibility. We'll see how that works out. Report: Dan Snyder allowed Commanders' toxic culture, formerly the Redskins, of course. NFL aided in cover-up. Now, I'm not sure why we needed a big special report to show that Dan Snyder's not a good dude and had his team doing a lot of crazy, crappy things in the culture. But we do. The report also says that NFL basically worked to make sure that these things didn't come to light because the former Redskins, now Commanders, are big money for the NFL. All these things are pretty obvious. I still want you to check out the link if you've not read the story yet and go deeper into the report and how it wraps things up. But all practical purposes, everything you already knew is pretty much in the open, even though it was in the open in the first place. DOJ asked federal judge to hold Trump team in contempt over classified documents. Why? Because they keep finding classified documents. The other day, they found 2 labeled top secret in a shed or something. It says storage facility, but probably a shed that also had some ninja swords and some wrestling belts. So basically, Donald Trump is stuffing has so many classified documents. He's just stuffing in whatever spare storage he has. Stuff he had left over from WrestleMania a couple of years ago, and the ninja swords. Who knows where they came from? So since the Trump team is keeping asked, have you turned everything over? And they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure we have. And then they go find more stuff. The Department of Justice wants Trump in contempt, or his team in contempt, over the fact that they're really not doing the job they should be doing. Moving forward, just to click. School principal Chris Christensen jumped to his death to end toxic marriage to abusive wife, says daughter. This was a really painful one to do, and there were a lot of stories to get into, but we have been saying all month long, all 9 days in this December, about the suicide prevention lifeline, the new suicide prevention lifeline. The old number still works, and in fact, many of the news stories, this news stories in particular, use the old number in the framing of it. 988 is a number that you can call or text to your cell phone, and you can get to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can talk to someone via text chat, or via a live phone talk 24/7 in English and Spanish. At one point, I actually fixed the slide for this and then unfixed the slide, so I don't have that slide there. But I will but we're gonna keep saying 988 because it's so easy to do, so simple to do. 988 is the number to call on your cell phone or on your text on your cell phone if you need someone to talk to in the state. Read the story because it is really, really chilling and extremely, extremely sad. But I want you to make sure you know this is not to shock you into any sort of emotion, other than if you're a person who needs someone to talk to and are feeling sort of like this guy here. Talk to someone. As a person who has dealt with and basically deals with, because it doesn't really go away, depression and mental illness, I get it. It's not easy every single day, but there are people to talk to. Find a friend, find a counselor locally, dial 988, text me, we'll chat if you want to get through these things. Dyson Zone air purifying headphones start at $949. The only reason why this thing is here, because trust me, there are much better stories there, is this is the sign of the apocalypse. This is a true sign that the end is nigh. This is the sign that Google will rise up and take over as the master of the machines, and the Terminator is only a few years away as a documentary and not a science fiction movie. Click the link, look at the headphones, slap your face, be in a bit of disgust, and wonder what the hell is James Dyson doing? What the hell is he doing? Has he been taken over by a robot already? James Dyson has gone mad. Now, teaser story. And I thought I was going mad this morning when this one popped up. Turned on the news, the CNN, and they were doing a exclusive interview with Jake Tapper from last night, where he talked to Christensen, the senator from Arizona, one of the senators from Arizona, who decided she's leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. Now, there's a lot of things go into this one that actually make sense, but the fact that the timing and the fact that we seem to have no idea this was happening, and the fact that it's Kristen Sinema, who just sort of, not to be catty, although I will be, but sort of wafts around Washington and just sort of changes her hair and wears dresses so she can flex and just is Kristen Sinema, is doing this right now. What does it mean? Well, we'll talk about it next week if you deem this worthy of talking about. Monday, to be exact, because we don't talk about new news stories on Saturday and Sunday. We save them all for Monday. We'll talk about it if you go to the feeds at thisisaconversationproject.com and look for the feed list, or links directly at Facebook, facebook.com/thisisaconversationproject, and twitter.com/th_conversation. The feeds are essentially where we can provide news stories every 50 minutes. We're going to try to do something and actually do some feeds on Instagram. It's going to seem kind of weird and silly, but we're going to try it and see if we make that work out. So we have another feed going on. TikTok just isn't working for the feed stuff, but we'll play around with TikTok going forward. Like them, love them, hate them, share them, engage in the stories. The better chance the story gets of being talked about in this forum comes when you engage with the story in real time within its range of parameters. On Monday, we'll talk about stories from today, tomorrow, Sunday, and a little clip of Monday till about 5 a.m. when we shut the thing off. And we'll have 10 stories to provide for you from the top 30 stories of the weekend. So if you want to be a part of that show, you want to be in that number, make sure you follow us on our feeds and engage in some stories as you see them. Now, let's talk about cash. Saving you some cash and gifts. Giving good gifts from the Chess Store Incorporated. You can go by thisisaconversationproject.com/sponsors and visit many of our sponsors for the show. But today's main sponsor is the Chess Store. My daughter is in love with chess, and I don't understand it because it's not like she's so much, obsessed with it, but she likes going to chess clubs. She likes being around a chess club team. She likes the lady who runs her chess club, and she'll talk about chess so often. I want her to play more chess, so we'll see about getting her some nice physical boards because she's playing online a lot, and that gets conflicting with YouTube videos. It's hard to play chess when you're watching a YouTube video. So we're going to solve that by getting her a pretty chessboard for part of her Christmas. She doesn't watch this, so she has no idea that's coming up. You want to get great chess accessories, go to the Chess Store and they will take care of you. Our affiliate link is thisisaconversationproject.com/the Chess Store, and they've got their Black Friday prices ongoing all season long. Save yourself on great chess sets made of wood, made of metal, made of glass, made of plastic, made of all sort of polycommoner materials. Great for displaying on your coffee table, great for traveling that aren't cheesy. Some very unique sets as well. that will blow your mind in their creativity and get you back into the game of chess. Most people have learned chess. Most people have played it a couple times, and they just sort of got out of habit. Getting a nice chess set on your coffee table for people to see is a great way to get back into the groove of chess. We're going to try to do that with the little baby, and we'll see what's happening. Although the baby is 10, so it's, she's always a baby. There you go. But the baby's getting chess for Christmas. You should get chess for your loved ones for Christmas as well. Check them out at thisistheconversationproject.com/the chess store and see what deals they have for you there. Now, a little more time to blab about me, us, the Conversation Project. Our main website, our home, thisistheconversationproject.com. At our home, you can find links to our sponsorships page, where you can see more of our sponsors, our partnership page. If you want to help us out directly, if you think we're giving you fairly good content, fairly good value for the content, there are ways you can help us out directly with that content at the partnerships page. Also, links to past episodes of this thing, links to the newsletter. So if you don't want to see this, you can get all the links to all the stories in the newsletter about 6:10 every morning. Also, links to the podcast, which is also linked in the newsletter. So if you want to just listen and not see this, people listening only see me do my hand on my face. That should be closed captioned or something. You can do that. Just get the audio version. We'll pull it down as soon as we're done with this one and upload it to the internets. Of course, the feeds are there and other ways to find us at The Conversation Project at thisistheconversationproject.com. Today, things we like to make sure after we do the salesy stuff, we turn this back into a showy show. So today, things include birthdays for December the 9th, celebrating on this grand day. Dame Judi Dench turning 88 years old on the day. Congratulations to Dame Judi Dench, who is, still doing great work, still doing great movies, popping up here and there. Even at her old age, she is, afforded the right to kind of pick and choose and do what she wants to do and just be glamorous whenever she feels like it, because gosh darn it, she's 88 years old. John Malkovich turning 69 years old today. And Donny Osmond turning 65 years old today. We had a lot of birthdays and a lot of people to cut today. Felicity Huffman was in there. Michael Dorn, one of my favorites, was in there. But we are focusing on these three because we got to have a limit. If you have a birthday or someone that you think should be in there, if it's your birthday, let me know. We'll give you some hops, some props going forward. Today is Llama Day. And you apparently celebrate Llama Day by just going to the petting zoo to see a llama. Why you wait to December the 9th to go see a llama, I'm not quite sure. Why the llama gets so much precedence on this day, I'm not quite sure. Today is Llama Day. It's Llama Day. It's also pastry day. So if you want to go pastry's fine. But we want to celebrate the llamas in your life. The drama llamas, the llama ding dongs, the llamas at the petting zoo, if you will. So let's do it. Give some love to llamas. Please give love for llamas on your Llama Day. One more thing you might not have heard going out the door. This is what I was actually wanted to produce on yesterday before the Santa Claus thing came up. So this one was really the more interesting one until the Santa Claus having 34 milliseconds to deliver a toy popped up, because that really smacked me in the face. When it comes to living longer, researchers say fitness may trump fatness. Reading is fundamental too. In the University of California study, men and women who were fit but were overweight or obese had a lower mortality risk than normal weight but low fitness. Skinny fat people who are just waferly thin but don't actually work out, have the disadvantage over the Lizzos of the world, the people who are thick but get it done. So if you are physically in shape, if your ability to move around and not get winded, although you may be a bit overweight, carrying a bit extra weight, you're actually in better shape, obviously, and in better shape for all cases of mortality than someone who's just naturally thin but doesn't do anything. Take that as you think about it for your New Year's resolutions and for working your way through the rest of your Christmas holiday eating, because there's not 21 days. There's 14 days left of it. 14 days until Christmas. Math is also not fundamental this morning as well. But I can read this thing that says it's Friday, December the 9th, 2022. And since it's the right Chiron, that means we're done for the week. Thank you so much for being a part of our life, our joy. sometimes our pain, as we produce the things you might not have heard and other things at the Conversation Project. The greatest thing you can do for me this season, other than the whole tip your mailman thing, and helping us out with donations and subscribe and um, sponsor money, is to just send me a message of how things are going. Tell me how things are working. Reply back into these videos, reply back into my chat, reply in my DMs for Twitter and Facebook. Reply back to me and let me know how things are going, man. Because, or woman, if you will. Because the biggest thing we need to know going forward is how to progress with this. This is a business, so I get a chance to do some write-offs, do some things, even though it's not a cash cow, to make this thing work financially. But it is a lot of work, and there's a lot of things going on that could be done instead. Although, for some reason, because I'm insane about these news stories, I can't stop pulling the news stories, so I have to produce something to make it work. But making it work for you is the entire thing. So if you've gotten this far, whether watching me live, we have a couple of people on live, or if you are watching this in a replay or listening in a podcast replay, reply back with something. Let me know how we're doing and what we can do to fix it. And then I say we because in the near future, we have some plans, some plots to put some other voices to link in this thing to make it more of a conversation in real time here, not just the chat bot backs and forth. So with that, I already took a sip, but stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task. You're awesome. I am so grateful for you. I'm so proud of you. We need you here for the rest of this one and all through the next one and the next one and the next one. If you're feeling depressed, you're feeling sad, need someone to talk to, go to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and it's now housed at 988. So you just pull out your cell phone and dial 988 or text 988. Someone will talk to you in English or Spanish 24/7. Someone's there for you. In the meantime, we're already posting the news stories. The cinema story should be posting in about 10 minutes, and we're looking to chat about stuff. So you tell me what stuff to chat about, and we'll do it come Monday on things you might not have heard. Have a great weekend. Happy almost Christmas to us all.